use an app to source for some of these skill set. And so these traditionally we have always had the sharing economy, the repair economy, the circularity bit. So it's not like a very new phenomenon as per se. But now looking at the use an app context that we have, some of these skill set, the reality that we face, these traditionally we have always had the sharing economy, the repair economy, the circularity. Keep it so it's not like a very new phenomenon plus in terms of the global warming. But now looking at every action that we take, how do we look at environment and the reality and one way I can think, perhaps just to add that points that Brenda has mentioned, and I think it's related to projects that we did was an interesting program in which we were encouraging but now looking at the entrepreneurs to green their operations. So if you are looking at the way you treat your water, you recycle the water and bring it back into the production. What kind of energy source are you using in your operations, for example? I'm proud to say that Kenya, we have 90% renewable energy. So from geothermal, from wind, from solar, and all other stuff. And so it means that when you are using our energy, it's almost the green energy. So those in the production side of the energy, this you can already consider that as a green job. But looking at, for example, the procurement, the green procurement. So assuming you are sourcing for packaging materials, what do we use for packaging your products in the factory? Is this recycled in a way or another? How do you transport? Do you consider aggregating in a way so that you reduce in terms of CO2 emission by a lot of transportation? And so we were challenging innovators and entrepreneurs to review and audit their operations and look at where there are gaps in terms of they're either using more energy or the other, and then try and reduce and maximize. Because every time you go circular, one is you reduce the cost of production, your cost comes low. But on the other side is that the productivity goes high. Another example, for example, is in the agriculture sector, where you can, if let's say you are going into organic agriculture, compared to conventional agriculture, and you are using biological inputs, biological pest control, etc., you find that you have higher yields. And when you go to the market, then you are able to sell these products at premium price, because organic products fetches up to 30% more than conventional products. So there are already enough incentive for an entrepreneur or innovator to venture into that sector. And I think these perhaps are the kind of information and opportunities that we try and share with the innovators. And lastly, of course, is to try and also look at what are the opportunities in your operating environment. There are also innovative financial mechanisms. And how do you plug into it? So if, let's say, for example, you're in the solar space, apart from, let's say you are in the cooling system, because we work a lot in the blue economy, and so we have innovators that have solar cooling system as pay as you go. So besides selling that as a service, there's also opportunity that you can bring an auditor and that can be able to calculate the carbon footprint of your business. And then you're able to get carbon credits. And that becomes an alternative income for the business. So we have to open up also this kind of alternative earnings that comes with the greening and the circularity. And then it becomes more attractive for the entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much, David and Brenda, for sharing with us your thoughts on that. Now to you, Craig, building on what David just said about entrepreneurs going green, would you please share with us some green jobs that are emerging in the circular economy space and how the innovation hubs can support entrepreneurs and innovators to tap into these opportunities? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so there's quite a lot of opportunity once you get started and you are driven to find new solutions within the circular economy. And you are often very well surprised as you try to build up these business models that you have to take care of another business issue within that business. And then soon you realize you need another service provider or technical skill that could be beneficial to your business. So from our experience within the waste management sector, particularly, and the recycling champion program that we've built, the whole model enable people to collect and source materials at the grassroots level. And with that, you soon realize with the transportation of these materials that the current services that's being provided is not sufficient, for example. And soon what we've had to do was then to introduce or create further business opportunities for people to become mobility entrepreneurs. So immediately as a result of the waste management expansion resourcing model, we needed mobility entrepreneurs. And so that enabled us to create further jobs. But as you build up your collection of these materials within the industry and you want to sell it on further down the value chain, you then also soon realize that there's an opportunity now to increase the value of the product that you're collecting at a grassroots level. But in order to do that, you're going to need machinery. And so immediately you now employ machinery that then requires persons to operate those machineries. And so with equipment that's coming into the circular economy, there's an opportunity for people to be upskilled to operate these machinery. But on top of that, you also now have an opportunity to also equip people to train others within the circular economy to learn these kind of skill sets, technical skill sets that's needed to operate the machinery, whether it is a baling machine or whether it is a scale to weigh the products that you have. So from a technical perspective, we see there's a lot of opportunity, and particularly opportunities with low barrier to entry. That is so much needed for people within our communities who often don't have opportunities at times to go and study further. So that's been important. But then within the circular economy, the importance of data becomes so valuable. And that's also then led to these technology service providers that we need. And so we've seen that creating those type of opportunities for people to create hardware pieces to track, to share, cross-share information, but also the software that will be needed to actually capture this type of data points across the network. So definitely technology service providers, very, very important. And then obviously data analysts, and those are very important jobs that comes through as well. And with that, what can you do with these products, these materials? Soon you then find that more products can be developed from these materials. So now you need designers and you need product developers. So those are some of the jobs that we've seen and experienced personally, and I'm sure there's a lot others within the green space. But into that as well, as you start innovating, experimenting, trying these new models, you find that there's now, because of your scale, that it opens up other opportunities. The more hubs, recycling hubs that you set up, we soon realize that there's an opportunity also to meet a particular need which has to do with electricity. And so because of the expansion of the hubs, you can now introduce solar as an opportunity, for example. And in order to install solar, you need experience, you need trained technical persons. And so there's just so much opportunity that can come from the space. Key to that, though, is the willingness and the drive to find solutions that work, that can create opportunities and create wealth, like we've all said so far. So that's an exciting space to be within. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that submission, Craig. And I'm glad that you did highlight grassroots in your submission. They are very critical players that are often overlooked in this whole circularity thing, So Abdulrahim, that brings me to you, how do we formalize and protect informal sector players like waste pickers who form part of the grassroots in this whole circular economy chain? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think you said something which was key, right, on the grassroots and how valuable waste pickers can be. And one of the things that we usually don't look at is the fact that they are very key in the whole space, especially in our settings where we don't necessarily sort out our waste, and then also most of the times we do throw out our waste all the time. They are the ones that are doing most of the sorting jobs for us, so they will help in getting the quality of waste, right? And in situations like this, you have scattered waste pickers who are not protected socially, who do not even have the right skill set to be able to deliver the quality of product, and that also translates into the value. So for waste pickers, one of the key things that I believe that we can look at formalizing is, first of all, putting them together in some sort of a network or a cooperative where they can basically be supported by their own network, but also supported externally in terms of advocacy and other things. Now, when you put them together like that, now they can then put themselves in that cooperative to become a formal entity where there will be direct engagement with a formal entity. There could be formal training, support, and other things as well. So that is also something that is really key when it comes to specifics in terms of waste pickers, right? Now, looking at other forms, other informal sectors. So when we talk about informal sectors, we are not just only talking about waste, right? Or waste pickers. We are talking about also the other people who are more or less like aggregating. They are putting together these plastics. They are buying plastic from waste pickers. How do we put them together? How do we formalize them, right? And this is where also us as innovation hubs, as innovation entities come in. Because yes, one thing we do is we support businesses. We need to understand that these individuals, no matter how informal they are also entrepreneurs, and they are entrepreneurs that are also in the waste value sector. So one of the things that I think we can do is us also engaging in developing programs that actually focuses on them as well, that focuses on building their capacity, that focuses on helping them to formalize their businesses. I mean, we the innovation hubs, we have a very good understanding of all these things. We have a very good understanding of all these things, so much that in any single aspect of things, we can help such innovators, such informal players be able to formalize in terms of putting a structure, building a structure, and all these things. So this is basically one of the key things that I believe that we can do in formalizing the sector as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rahim. And then I would move on to David. David, please do share with us some existing policies that are helping or harming the circular economy movement in Africa so that our entrepreneurs will become aware of it and know how to take advantage of some of these policies. Thank you.
Your call.
Hey, thanks. I think the first that comes to mind straight on is, for example, in Kenyan context. So the government banned single-use plastic sometimes back, and it becomes almost illegal for it to be found with it. So I want to advise my brothers, sisters coming for the gathering that the single-use plastic should not come at the airport. I'm joking, but anyway, I'm also not joking. I'm a bit serious. So it's legal. So it's already been outlawed, and I think other countries in Africa perhaps have have similar policies. And then on the other side, I think there is recently we incorporated what I call extended producer responsibility, the EPR. So what this means is that if you are a producer or a manufacturer of a material, maybe it's a packaging or electronic, whatever it is, and it's used by consumers. If the authorities find it discarded elsewhere or carelessly, not in the right way, then as the producer, then you have a case to answer. And I think this is kind of putting kind of responsibility to every producer that we must be able to look at the end life, the shelf life of whatever products we are putting out there. And I think it also goes also into the contribution earlier on by Brenda in terms of the design process, the material that you use for whatever the product. Is it recyclable? And so as a producer, then you have to always to think about this. And I think also a number of countries in Africa, I think, have incorporated, for example, different policies on e-waste management. And I think it's different country to country have different guidelines. So it's fantastic. It's good, right, to update ourselves in terms of what your country dictates. The other one, of course, is how do we, as entrepreneurs, how do we ensure that we are aligned to take advantage of the opportunities that sometimes comes with better regulations? And for example, in Kenya, I think there is something on when you import, we are encouraging green manufacturing. So it means if you are bringing different components for green manufacturing, let's say you are assembling an e-bike, for example, and you are getting different components from different places. So you can bring in the different parts, and then if you are assembling it in Kenya, then you are able to enjoy about 10% taxation in terms of the import duty, etc., etc. But if you are assembling it outside the country and you bring it in as a finished product, then the duty sometimes goes up to 41%. So now the choice is how it's yours as an entrepreneur that you want, of course, to make sure that your product is competitive in the market space. And so it's better for you to bring in the parts here and assemble it here, and then you're able to enjoy lesser taxation, and then of course you become competitive in the market space. So I think that's one, and of course to look at, because the policy landscape keep changing, and it's just to be plugged in, to be involved. I think previously also I mentioned in terms of changing laws on the carbon. For example, if you are interested in the carbon market, I think we have new laws. If you're looking for innovative financing, I think also they are given regulations in terms of the government. And so an entrepreneur, of course, is to try and align with the current laws in the country and take advantage of. Yeah, also.
Thank you very much, David, for your submission. We would like to take last input from all of our speakers, and then we'll go ahead to take some questions from the audience, and then we'll try to address those questions. And so to all my speakers, what is your message to the next generation of African circular economy innovators? What is your message to the next generation of African circular economy innovators? After this, and then we'll take some questions from the audience. Who would like to go first?
I can go.
Please go ahead, Rahim. Thank you.
Yes. So with respect to the final message, I think one of the things that I would say to next generation of, I mean, we are actually the next generation. So let me say one of the things, or one thing that I would say to us is that there is a lot of opportunities in the circular economy market, right? There's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of business to be done there. But then also one thing that we really need to understand is it's a very challenging market. It's a very challenging system, and so be expecting to face challenges. But one thing we know as individual innovators and as innovators is that in the face of adversities, in the face of challenges, we work, we build, and we find wonderful solutions. Africa is faced with a lot of problems when it comes to waste. That alone in itself is a pure opportunity for a lot of innovation and a lot of businesses. So I say to every single innovator out there, find that problem, research that problem, and develop a business around it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abdulrahim, for your concluding remarks. Who would like to go next? David?
Yeah, I think for me is to take advantage of what opportunities are there. And I think I was reading a report by UN Women that was estimating that we have close to 6 in the 2050. The solar energy alone will be responsible for nearly 600,000 jobs created. And so how do you ensure that you are right there at the right time? And everyone is talking about the transition into green economy. So you can't go wrong, really. And also, if you sit there on the highway, of course, you'll be crashed over. I mean, the whole world is talking about this. It's the future, it's the present, and it is as it is, yeah.
Thank you very much for your submission, David. Brenda, would you like to go next, please?
Yes. My submission will be challenge the system. Let's not get too comfortable with the status quo. I think there's a wave going across Africa on changing what has been business as usual, from our political class to our economic class to what we want to do as a continent. Why do I need a passport, a visa to come to Nigeria? Why don't we have a single, why do you have so many tariffs amongst our different nations? So for me, is to challenge the system, question why things are as they are, who put the systems and barriers in place for making circularity so hard, get involved with the public discourse on how laws and policies are designed in our countries, understand what the FTA, the Africa Trade, is all about, understand what the Agenda for Africa 2063 is all about, and how you can contribute to that. So let's talk about the African dream. Not everybody, but we have the American dream that is so popular. But what is the African dream? How can we play into that? How can we design an Africa that works for us? Not wishing and hoping that we could go abroad. Let's have reference points of what has worked in Africa. If we talk about circularity, why it is working in Sweden, and why is that a reference point? David, no shade. Or why is that a reference point? Why not what has worked in this country? So I am extremely pro-African, extremely diligently, I would say stupidly believe in this continent. My identity is rooted here. My love for this continent is unmatched, and I hope that people fight for this continent and ensures that it works for us and we don't have to escape it or seek opportunities elsewhere. So please, all the 25 of us, let's challenge the status quo and question why things are not working and fight for a better future for ourselves. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Brenda. Craig, please let's hear from you also. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. one important thing about an innovator is that you're always willing to push the boundaries. You're never satisfied really, and because we know the journey gets tough, it does require bravery, and particularly when things such as policies and the many things that we call the lack or the insufficient infrastructure and all of those things come up against you, that will be the opportunity for you really to push the boundaries and to elevate and to be willing to keep on learning and asking questions. I think that's very important. And so make sure that you also don't go the journey alone. Make sure that you have somebody that you keep close, in your corner. Make sure that you share and you ask for help and support, because there's often already people, organizations, other stakeholders that you might not have thought about that's actually ready to support what you are doing, because they see the importance of what you do and they see you as a person. And so I think that's my message to every African innovator who's really wanting to keep on doing what's important. Thank you.
Hi, Gertrude, we can't hear you. You are muted.
Thank you. Yes. So thank you, Craig. Thank you to all our wonderful speakers for your submission. We have a few questions in the chat, so I'll read them out one after the other. And then anyone who would want to speak to them can just go ahead. Let's see if we'll be able to address all of the questions that we do have in the chat box. If you have more questions, please make sure to put them in the chat box, and then we'll see if we'll be able to address them all. We have one from Paul. Paul says that based on your work, where do you see short-term opportunities in transforming waste to wealth? Who would like to take that for us, please?
So maybe just
I can take it. Okay, so let me go. Maybe others.
Okay, please go ahead.
Put in. Yes. So we work in the blue economy space. So a lot of our startups are in the fish and fish value chain, aquaculture, mariculture, and the rest. And I think one of the big challenges is access to fish feed. If you speak with any fish farmer, they'll tell you that 60% of the cost of running a fish farm is on feeds. And now there is opportunity to use the black soldier flies, but it's not being done at a commercial scale that can be able to plug in this market. And so for me, when you're looking at the organic side of waste, that definitely is a huge opportunity if you are thinking of going into that space. And literally, a lot of our municipal cities do not have a solution for the organic side. There's a lot of nice programs on plastic. Every new project being initiated is on plastic. No one is thinking about the organic waste. And I tend to think this is already quick, easy. You can easily get your certification, the standardization, and go directly into the market.
Thank you very much, David. Would anyone want to briefly add to that before we go to the next question? Otherwise, I will just go ahead and read the next question. It says, how can you rate the ecosystem and have readiness index in the waste sector, unlocking circularity? In your approach and frameworks, what would be your concrete proposals? I think Abdulrahim responded to this in the chat session, but if any of you would want to add up to that, that would also be great. So I take the question again, how can you rate the ecosystem and hub readiness index in the waste sector unlocking circularity? Anyone?
Yeah, I'll try to respond to that one. I think it's from observation. You know, I know, for example, there is the around the world, and I think there's the Plastics Pact, for example, that you know, where the commitment is really to increase recycling rates and etc. So just from our experience, it does appear that there's still a lot of work to be done. It does appear, obviously, that different role players are still not necessarily collaborating as well as what's needed in order to create new opportunities. So if I would just do a general rating, I would say, you know, we're really far off from really reaching a point where we can, you know, collaborating and creating more opportunities within the circular economy. I mean, there's some examples, just very briefly. For example, in South Africa, there's some of the packaging that all the crisps goes into. It's made up of 3 different types of materials. So recycling it is for reusing it's almost impossible. But you know, often there's no solution coming through that would incentivize, you know, the sourcing of these millions of packaging items that ends up on the landfill. And so I do think there's opportunity to think further down the value chain where more opportunities can be created if there's proper incentivizing and programs and support from different role players, including the brands and, you know, the producers, where you can actually unlock potentially the creation of further product beyond that particular life of the item. So yeah, but that's just some thoughts from my side. It's probably very difficult to give specifics around that, but those are some of the things I could think about. Hopefully that's a little bit helpful to you.
Thank you very much, Craig. I don't see any more questions in the chat. And so at this point, I would like to say again, thank you to all our speakers for sharing with us your knowledge, your thoughts, and your insights on this topic. And I would then pass on to Bede to close the session. Bede, over to you, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Gertrude, for moderating that highly impactful and insightful panel. We had a question from, I think, Engineer Kunu. So just like his hands have been raised since, I'll like him to ask his question, and then the panel can respond before I give my closing remarks. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can.
Okay. Okay, it's not really a question. I want to first of all thank the organizers for putting up this platform for us to share ideas. I'm Kunu Joel from Cameroon. I'm into waste management and sustainable construction. I just want to give in an input on the fact that we've talked a lot about recycling and policies and all of that, but there is another aspect of waste that people really don't stress about it, but it's actually one of the highest waste that we find in our waste stream, which is organic waste. And organic waste itself causes a lot of problems to the environment, sometimes even more than plastics, just because plastics doesn't have a life that it ends. But organic waste cause a lot of problems if we don't manage them well. I did a research here in Boya, Cameroon, and I found out that about 50% of our waste in the waste stream was all organic or recyclables. And that a lot gives a lot of opportunities for people to grab, a lot of employment to be given, and adding a lot of nutrients to the soil. If we do composting well, we realize that from that alone, we actually have food security, because a good soil nutrient is obviously going to give us a good yield, and a good yield is going to solve hunger, and of course, that's food security being guaranteed. We also realize that with organic waste, if not well managed, we can have environmental problems like the exposure of methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas. So I just want to urge every other young Cameroonian like myself, like we should make use of every resources we have. For the plastics, for example, to recycle plastics, you may need machinery to shred them, to recycle them. But if we go organic, using the organic materials that we have in our homes, we have everything at our disposal that we might not need policies to get them, imported materials to be able to add to our product to recycle. So I'm just trying to say that in situations like this, young people should grab every opportunity, like my brother from Kenya was saying, every opportunity. The waste that we get from the house, we can make money from it. That is actually where I focus a lot of my energy, and organic waste and sustainable construction methods that are also eco-friendly and cheaper to every other person. The idea is we can bring structures, building to everybody, because another problem Africa is facing is housing. Housing material, most of us are importing materials from abroad, and it's becoming difficult. Whereas we have these local materials here that we can encourage. We have earth, we have wood that we can do healthy harvesting, and of course encourage afforestation. So my interest is we should be able to use all what we have around our areas, and will make life better for us. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Kene, for your observation.
Go ahead.
Okay, no worries. Thank you, Gertrude. Thank you, Engineer Kene, for your observation, and I'm sure we've all taken note of that. So I really hope you enjoyed this conversation, because I did. And I know you enjoyed it as well. So you definitely do not want to miss out on the main event. I again invite everyone to register and attend the 2025 AfriLabs annual gathering holding at the United Nations office, Nairobi, from the 13th to the 15th of October 2025. You can register via the website www.afrilabsgathering.com. We really do look forward to welcoming you to what promises to be an inspiring celebration of Africa's innovation future. I would also, at this point, like to extend an invitation to everyone to attend the next conversation in this conversation series, which will be focused on hub solutions with the theme Innovation Theater, how hubs can stop performing and start building real solutions. And this will be holding next week, Wednesday, same time, August 27 at 11 a.m. West African time. The links to the annual gathering website and the link to the next Candid Conversation is already in the chat box. Now, finally, what do we say to our highly knowledgeable speakers? I would like to thank our highly esteemed speakers for sharing their expert insights in this conversation. Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much, Craig. Thank you so much, Brenda. Thank you so much, Rahman. Thank you so much, Gertrude, for moderating. Your insights were all very useful. I'm glad we got insights from the West Africa, from East Africa, from South Africa. This was so impactful. We also thank our distinguished participants for staying with us. Thank you for sticking through. We know that this has been a very good use of your time. And I believe we've been able to unpack the critical challenge that waste represents, spotlight on tapped opportunities in recycling and the circular economy, and become more inspired to craft out an inclusive and impact-driven solution to actually turn waste to wealth, so that we can stop with a lot of talking and get into action, first from our community and then across the continent. Thank you again, everyone. This has been very exciting. Thank you for lending us your time, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day and your week. I wish you all success in all that you do. Look forward to seeing you in Nairobi, and I'll be personally there with our team to welcome you. Bye-bye.
when you leave alone the plugins and all that and the involvement, for example, this thing of the automation and all that, then this one, yawansi eriwa? Ine eyawano wansi ya maintenance and wiki. Like those last two items, those ones we can discuss. That's why I told it's in draft.
The one I know, okay, development and setup of the website. Then make it more understandable. Wano kale olina engeri gwe gy'okolamu invoices. Event ticketing, responsive design, user-friendly navigation, and event branding. I think you may pull a lot of attention this too much word. What you can do, website design, what you're designing, plugin.
And this is the one for website you're handling. That's to do with the forms, registration, the setting up the products, setting up.
One dog take out like event ticketing.
Just that.
Yeah, because if you go responsive design, somebody is trying to be like, you get it. So you just say maybe website design, stock development, event ticketing, website design, or I don't know. Try to say someone should know that the ticketing website was designed. Figure a full stop.
Just
then
that.
Plugins, I beg your pardon?
Just that.
Yes. Then plugin licenses. What's that? Plugin in So what's that?
So plugin licenses. There's a good years of plugins that is handling tickets, is handling product purchases, then it's handling receipting and all that. So licenses, what we do, we pay licenses.
Put those things there because it makes sense. So, but ticketing payment figure. The things that you have, okay, don't use your language that you understand. Use the layman's language that they will understand so that they can justify the fees. You get? And my friend is winning a second time. I know
who is that one?
We have been told to predict Managwe.
So he said for the website design development, just leave it to that.
Kubanga, okay, this is the thing. Website design and development. Remember already right now Vision Zero website. So instead of calling it actual website design, why did you say landing page? Because landing page, I don't know, but me, I understand landing page and website. When the website already go by Vision Zero website, the last themselves why paying for another website. So isn't that site called a landing page?
Yeah, that's what I've just changed. So I've called it ticketing landing page.
Design of show landing page. Landing page, but also the plugins. Okay, this is the landing page. That's a plugin yene kolachi. Okay, you know now.
You may design, but then you need plugins are like tools that handle a background. For example, for us being positioned to do ticketing, we pay a license to the people that produce these plugins or Kuyambako in creating the tickets and all this. It's like that.
Creating the tickets and what else?
Tickets, reservation, Kulukea security.
Now, those are the things I want. I want you to set plugins. One, ticketing, two,
But those, I put them here.
No, plugins, the worry will not only ticketing and email automation and event management. Those things you're going to confuse the layman person. You get it? Ticketing is okay. Email automation, there are some things you mentioned. They are there.
And kati is just security.
anti-cut security. Then to get it set up, that one is mandatory that when you design something, it has to be secure.
But we pay these. The thing is, you remember the last attack that we had?
Yes.
When that website was down, it was actually under attack. There is someone that was trying to spoof it, and most of the resources were directed towards rejecting that. That's when I went ahead and installed my version of WordPress.
That one is fine, but
another thing is to do with money. Someone can put their PayPal keys, and people are paying. True, they are paying, but they're paying to a different account. It may not even be PayPal.
The thing of email automation, the other side, when you told me plugins, doesn't the plugin do the email automation reminders and everything?
That's why I told. Besides the plugin, that's why I told you that this one down here can be up for discussion.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you buy a plugin, there are certain things that I've not gone into. When you buy, you pay the license, but they don't come and set it up for you. Until you go again to write those emails, is again when this and this happens, what email is sent to that person? This. When this happens, what email is sent to that person? The things that we're putting in the what?
You told someone up here that you have done email automation under the plugin. So if you put email automation down here, it still pulls attention. You get what I mean? Remember, we have a national committee which Sunday sits on, and I think other people of Uganda, which meeting is ongoing, it has started. Then we have an international committee, a senior, minister, then one year international committee. So I don't want your invoice to be synchronized.